Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Theus here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I'm gonna finally be reviewing my most anticipated movie of 2023, and that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the second installment in the Spider-Verse, possibly trilogy, I guess, and it's directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, who directed Avatar: The Last Airbender uh, and Legend of Korra, the series, and Cam Powers and Justin K. Thompson, produced by Philip and Chris Miller. I forgot to mention them in my Into the Spider-Verse review, but now I'm mentioning them in this one. And it stars the returning cast, which includes Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, um, Jake Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, and Luna Lauren Velez. And new additions to the cast who include Oscar Isaac, Issa Rae, Daniel Kaluuya, Andy Samberg, Jason Schwartzman, Karen Sonny, Amanda Stenberg, Shia Wigham, etc. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse tells the story of Miles Morales, who is all grown. I don't know how long this took after the first film. Miles did say he's 15, so maybe definitely not too long ago from the first film. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't even a year, I guess, something like that. And basically, Miles Morales has troubles with his parents. He has a troubled relationship and troubled the school life as he reportedly flunked in Spanish. And then he was late to his father's celebration of becoming captain. So Miles pretty much gets grounded, and he pretty much has to deal with parents not trying to accept Miles. And then meanwhile, on another universe, Gwen Stacy sees this vulture villain named Vulture. This not a vulture human, like Vulture, like literally an animal vulture who came in from another universe. And also Gwen Stacy also has some very similar struggles to Miles. Literally, the first 20 minutes of the movie is all about Gwen Stacy. It almost feels like a Gwen Stacy mini movie for some reason, like a solo mini movie. And then we get Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Woman, Miguel O'Hara and Jessica Drew, pretty much coming to Gwen, recruiting Gwen to be able to save, go on missions in order to save the multiverse. There's a villain named Spot who pretty much messes up the multiverse, and Miles faces off against him in his world. But then Gwen Stacy comes to his world to be able to watch over Spot while catching up on Miles. And suddenly it's been revealed that Spot is trying to go after Miles to get revenge on Miles. After being a hidden character. It was very similar to Dante from Fast X. I like as much as I like Dante, Spot is better in my opinion. So yeah, so Spot wants to mess with the multiverse. So Miles pretty much joins the multiverse crew in order to stop it. But unfortunately, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, rejects Miles because he believes that Miles is the one who messed up the multiverse. So he blames Miles for messing up the multiverse. So pretty much Spider-Man is on a mission to survive while everyone, with the exception of Peter B. Parker and Gwen Stacy, turns against him. So yeah, I know that's a lot to say. That's a lot saying, but don't worry, I did not give away anything. Now, you might ask me, will there be spoilers in this review? Well, not really. Well, at the end of the video, I will talk spoilers because there's some things I want to say. There will be minor spoilers, but please do not leave. But please don't leave the live chat just to avoid spoilers. Now, I may be talking about some details that happens in the film that you probably would expect, but I will not talk the major ones. You're okay. You're okay. But I just really okay. Well, so anyway, let's talk about my anticipation level for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of the most revolutionary animated movies of all time. I was one of those. Unlike everyone else, I knew that Into the Spider Verse was gonna be a masterpiece, and now I knew I was gonna love it and rate it like a high 9 or 10 out of 10. I knew that it was gonna be the best Sony Pictures animation movie of all time. What I did not expect from Into the Spider Verse was that it will be one of the greatest Spider Man movies of all time, and one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, and one of the greatest movies of all time. And it's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time for sure. Yeah, that movie revolutionized animation and really inspired other animation studios to use that form, that comic book style animation, like DreamWorks with the Bad Guys and Pussy Boots Last Wish, Paramount with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Sony could continue to do that, use that style with the Mitchells versus the Machines, and then we got even Disney, Walt Disney Animation Studios. Well, they're kind of doing it for Wish, but I wouldn't say, I wouldn't really put Wish at the conversation of animations that are like Spider Verse. Mainly because it's just a mix of 2D and 3D animation, but there's not really a lot of Spider Verse style to it. Oh, and also even Netflix have pulled it off with Arcane League of Legends, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen Arcane yet, then I don't know if you're a true animation fan, because Arcane is a show that must be witnessed by true fans of the animation medium. Otherwise, I don't know what you're thinking. Watch Arcane. I'll probably do a more detailed review on Arcane soon, but let's get back to Across the Spider-Verse. So yeah, obviously, just like everyone else, my anticipation for Across the Spider-Verse is through the roof. Now, people's anticipations for Across the Spider-Verse would either go from, oh my gosh, I'm so hyped for this. This is gonna be the one of the greatest comic book sequels ever. To I love Into the Spider Verse, but I feel like the sequel is unnecessary, and it's not gonna match the first movie. Well, to me, I say that Across the Spider Verse actually does look better than the first film. Now, most people are saying, even though their high anticipation was through the roof, they're saying that, oh, it's gonna be hard to top the first film. It's impossible. But to me personally, I kind of knew that this was gonna be better than the first one. It had a chance. And considering that I'm a recency bias kind of person, I kind of figured that, yeah, this was gonna be better than the first film. And then I saw the movie for itself. Oh yeah, well, not done yet with it yet, but yeah, this was definitely my most anticipated movie of 2023, and it has not changed ever since. Yeah, yeah, this is my most anticipated movie of the year, mainly because it's Spider Verse, and I know there are people who did not ask for a Spider Verse sequel, but to me, the reason why I wanted a Spider Verse sequel is because I wanted to see these Spider people again. I wanted to see where Miles and Gwen's storylines would go, and Into the Spider Verse did open up its doors for sequels and spin-offs. Like there's a Gwen Stacy spin-off in development, and I gotta say, I'm all in. That could be my true favorite Spider Verse movie, and my true favorite comic book movie of all time. I'm gonna obsess about Gwen sometime in this video. But yeah, yeah, my anticipation level was through the roof, and even like and you all probably heard of superhero fatigue. I am personally a huge defender of superhero movies. It's my favorite piece of media of all time. I'm a defender of current day MCU. I'm sick and tired of the MCU hate, and well, thankfully, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is loved by Marvel fans. Unfortunately, though, I mean, the critics call it the best post Endgame MCU movie, but well, alongside it's No Way Home. But if 82% is the best that the critics can give credit for when it comes to these post Endgame MCU movies, then yeah, that shows how much little love the MCU is getting, which is sad. But to me, I will always defend comic book movies, and I knew that the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse would bring comic book fans back together and unite. And when I and the moment I read the reviews, people were saying that this is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. It's one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. It's one of the best movies ever made, and it's Venom first. whenever I like with some of the positive reviews, I was literally tearing up reading them because of all the praise that they're giving the movie. I was literally tearing up. One certain review, like reaction that I teared up at was Zach Pope's reaction for this movie. Like he put this as his second favorite movie of all time. His favorite movie of all time is Toy Story, the first one, but he said this is the best movie he's ever seen since Toy Story, and that really says something. And they all saying stuff like, "Oh, this is a true work of art," and I could not have been happier. And although the Rotten Tomatoes score is not higher than the first film, it's like lower by 2%. Most people I know are saying this is the best Spider-Man movie and better than Into the Spider-Verse, and that definitely says something. Because considering how much Into the Spider-Verse has changed. Now, I wasn't really there were like a few things I was not expecting from this film. Like I was thinking, it's not gonna be like this. Well, two things. First of all, I thought that No Way Home was the definitive Spider-Man movie already, so I didn't think that Across the Spider-Verse would top No Way Home as the best Spider-Man movie. And I did not think that this was going to be my favorite movie of the year, because we literally got Scream 6, which Scream 6 or was my second favorite movie of all time for like a month, I guess, or a few, or I guess a month. I put Scream 6 as my second favorite movie of all time. And I adore Scream 6 to death. I love that movie so much. It is a game changer to the horror genre. Jenna Ortega is one of the greatest actors of all time, and yes, Jenna Ortega is still the breakout star of is still the breakout star of 2023, as she was in 2022. Well, yeah, she's a breakout star in 2023 because last year, the breakout star was Sasig. But so this year was pretty much Jenna Ortega's time to shine. But yeah, considering that Scream 6 was my second favorite movie of all time, but I thought that nothing would beat Scream 6 as the best movie of the year. And then came Across the Spider Verse. After seeing this movie in theaters, I gotta say this right now. Oh my god. Like, wow. This movie left me speechless. Like, I didn't really know what to say about it. I had no idea what to say about it, and I was completely floored by how masterful this was. And note too, guys, I actually watched this movie twice now. First time yesterday in theaters, and second time, well, in preparation for this review, I decided to rewatch it online in preparation for this review. And let me tell you right now, people who hyped this movie up to the max were right. Across the Spider-Verse has literally dethroned Scream 6 as my second favorite movie of all time and the best movie of the year. Of course, of course it's no Frozen 2. Frozen 2 is still the best of the best, but I will say this right now, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the Frozen 2 of Sony. It is the Frozen 2 of Marvel. And it is the Frozen 2 of the comic book genre. Yeah. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. It is the greatest comic book movie of all time. And of course, well, the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Well, did I already say that? Well, whatever. Like, I could go on and on about how masterful this movie is. Masterful this movie is. Like, wow. So yeah, there is definitely a lot to say about this movie. So yeah, prepare yourself. And there's a reason why there's a reason why I decided to put this as a live stream, because my review for this movie will be just as ambitious, or it will be almost or not just as ambitious as the movie itself. Believe me when I say, you may be hyping out into the Spider Verse. Believe me if I say that Across the Spider Verse is not what you think. I'm a little worried about what the VR community will say about this movie, because this movie is super mature. It's kind of serious. The movie does, while it does have like a few jokes, the movie mostly takes itself way too seriously, and it feels like it kind of feels like it's not a kids movie. Like sometimes when watching this movie, I literally forgot that I forget that I'm watching a family movie. Like it's like I'm watching a straight up blockbuster that isn't a family movie. Like I forget I'm watching a movie for the family. Like, and sometimes, guys, sometimes I feel like this movie isn't that family friendly. It's plus it's a long movie, so I don't know how, kids can sit through this thing. It's a long 2 hour and 20 minutes movie, and I did feel the runtime. I actually did feel the runtime for this movie, but for good intentions, for good reasons, because usually feeling the runtime, like the length of the movie, would be a criticism. But when it comes to Across the Spider Verse, the runtime being overly long is good because you actually get to you want to watch this movie forever. It's like you want to live in this movie for the it's watching this movie feels like you want to live in the Spider Verse world for the rest of your life. It's like you want to just stay there, and you want to just stay there like forever, and just not want like you don't want to leave, like you don't want to ever leave. You just want to stick around for, like, with a movie. You want the movie to go on forever, and in every single scene you really want something more. You want more out of this. Now, what I was trying to say is, I'm worried that the VR community might complain about this movie. Oh, it's too mature. There's not much jokes. It takes itself too seriously. I mean, it's not for kids. Like, I swear to God, if the VR community gets a criticism, then I don't know what they're thinking. Yeah, but let me tell you guys right now, it's not a kids film. Yeah, just because it's animated doesn't mean it's for kids. But I'm telling you guys right now, Across the Spider Verse is not a kids film. Can kids watch this movie? Yes, but they might get confused with the movie. They probably might find it too long. They might get confused with the movie because the movie, but there's a lot in the movie, and it feels like it's targeted for adults. Plus, there are some swearing in this movie, I heard Gwen Stacy said, "What the hell?" Gwen and Miguel said "iconio," which literally translates to the F word. So if you're Spanish and you're taking your kids to watch this, then oh boy, you're taking a big risk there. I mean, if Spanish kids watch this, then they'd hear the F, they know iconio is the F word. So yeah, but that's pretty much one of my biggest criticisms with this film. It doesn't feel like a kids animated film. I mean, it actually treats its audiences with respect. Like it actually feels considerate for the it feels considerate to the adults. That's probably my problem with animation. It feels too kid friendly now. It feels too kiddie. But what I just witnessed is almost an adult animated movie. Like, this movie is rated PG. This movie should have been PG-13. Yeah, this felt like a PG-13 movie. Like, I haven't seen an anime movie this ballsy since Frozen 2, I guess. Um, but yeah, the fact that this movie feels like an adult anime movie, it doesn't talk down on its audience, and it feels like a movie made for people like me. Like, that's, I mean, there are far more things to praise about this movie. Of course, one of the main reasons why people love these Spider-Verse movies is because they want to see how the animation can evolve. And let me tell you right now, this movie is tied with Frozen 2 as the best looking anime movie I have ever seen. Every single frame in this movie is like a work of art. This movie is a work of art. This movie feels like it belongs in a museum or something. It is that good. And for a 100 million budget movie, it's better than a 200 million budget looking. It's better looking than a 200 million budget anime movie. I mean, the shots are gorgeous as all. Like, every single frame is gorgeous. The character animation is better because it shows that these characters have grown. Also, by the way, I, I like how they made Peter Parker look different than the first film, because in the first Into the Spider-Verse, Peter Parker looked exactly like, the same as, Miles' Peter Parker. But in this movie, like, they did show Peter Parker in the beginning, which I'll talk about that part later. They showed Peter Parker in the beginning of the movie. And he looked completely different, and I like that they changed, that they made him look more unique than your average Peter Parker, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that, and yeah, yeah, the animation and even the use of colors, and even the and even the use of different styles. There's it's not just the comic booking style. They experimented on other styles as well. Like there's the Lego style, which it's no surprise that they did show the Lego world because Sony revealed it to us. There is um there is some footages of live action. They put live action stuff into the world, like Sony also revealed that Spot went into the live action world, went into the live action world, which might be my top five favorite scenes in the entire movie, in my personal opinion. Well, top 10. There might be other scenes in that I'll have to think about it. And there's even the hand drawn style. Yeah, there was hand drawn style, and even some character designs that are in the style of Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, like there's so much you can do. You can clearly tell the animators had so much passion, so much passion put into the making of these characters. It's just really good. But some like what I said in Across the Spider Verse, anime movies would have a habit of putting animation over writing. The filmmakers would care so much about the animation that they forget to make a good story. Well, let me tell you right now, this movie, this has one of the most brilliant stories I have ever seen put to film, period. There's a reason why this movie is long, because this movie has a lot to offer. The story of this movie is brilliant. The plot of this movie is basically a meta commentary on the Spider-Man tropes. Like I'm sure you've seen movies with the meta commentary stuff. Matrix Resurrections, Scream 5 and 6, pretty much the Scream franchise in general. Those kinds of movies that where they poke fun of cliches and tropes. Even DreamWorks is doing that. DreamWorks is trying to poke fun. DreamWorks pretty much uses does meta commentaries on Disney, like the upcoming Ruby Gillman, based on Dean Stratton, based on the trailer. It looks like it's gonna be a meta commentary on fairy tale character, on fanboying of loving a fairy tale character, thinking that she's good because she's good looking, like that. Like, by the way, I actually got some brilliant ideas for it. I'm gonna tell y'all some of my ideas for DreamWorks meta commentary on Disney fairy tales. I'm gonna do that when I'm gonna do that soon when Ruby Gilman comes out, and maybe I'll post it on my Instagram, or maybe I might have did. Who knows? But yeah, whatever. And yeah, so this one is basically one of those, but it does it the best. It's basically a meta commentary on all the Spider-Man tropes that we've seen. We've seen how Spider-Man would lose a loved one in every Spider-Man universe. Literally, with Tom Holland Spider-Man is Aunt May, which, spoiler alert, they did not show Tom Holland mourning for Aunt May's death in this movie. Um, they mentioned that, or and then you got Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker losing Gwen, the classic Spider-Man losing Uncle Ben, other Spider-Mans losing their father, losing their love interest, losing someone, and then that's just an example. But there are other meta commentaries, and the whole conflict is basically Miles Morales trying to break the canon. In the first film, he broke the canon because um he broke the canon because of how Peter Parker was killed off, and Miles got bitten by radioactive spider. But it turns out the radioactive spider was not supposed to bite Miles. It was supposed to bite someone else. And so that pretty much caused you know that let Miles to change things around to break the Spider-Man trolls. But Miguel O'Hara wants the how do I say this? Wants all Spider-Man stories in all universe to be the same, to be formulaic. That's why went after Miles. Now everyone's been asking, why is Miguel so mad that he got the entire Spider Society to go after Miles? Now you got your reason right there. And this movie, and this movie also continues like what Into the Spider Verse accomplished with its storytelling, making your characters relatable and resonating. Miles, this movie is still a character study of Miles. About, I mean, kind of, well, the first 4 minutes is basically a character study of Miles and Gwen. But I'll get to that later. Which I'll definitely talk about the characters, but let's talk about the story first. It's essentially a movie about you know about troubled relationships, about how about how one person's life cannot go what you want. I mean, it's pretty much our stories. Like, we all have our own stories to tell. Like, we all have our own life stories, and there are some people who've been like struggling because their parents would usually force them to you know to be what they want to be, but there are other people who want their story to go that direction. Like me, I want my story to go my way. Sometimes it's hard for others to accept it, while others they be like, okay, well, that's your story, and that's a good one. And I mean, not like they're writing stories, like making your own story through your life, like that kind of story. And it's just brilliant, yeah. And I love that. And also Mouse's troubled relationship with his parents and flunking out of school. Yeah, that's pretty much just the part of how Mouse's story is written, but his story is completely different from other Spider-Mans. That's like what I said. And then, and if you think that the writing is not good enough, well, the dialogue is extremely sharp. Like the dialogue is extremely sharp. But then we get to the third act of the movie. The third act is some of the most brilliant pieces of storytelling I have ever seen. Like, this movie does, this movie is also a meta commentary on multiverses. This movie plays around with multiverse tropes, and the way they use the multiverse movie, I'm not saying that this is definitely the best multiverse movie of all time. If you think Everything Ever All at Once is the best multiverse movie, oh boy, brace yourself, because that movie is about to be top right there by this one right here. Or unless if you're gonna say, oh, but no, it's not just Everything Ever All at Once, because Everything Ever All at Once is more original. It's not based on a connected shared universe, and it's by A24 and won Best Picture. Well, that's on you. That's just your opinion, but to me personally, this is the definitive multiverse movie right here. I mean, this movie uses multiverses to. This movie uses multiverses to, how do I say this? To create plot twists that you won't see coming, and with these third plot twists, my jaw was literally dropping on the floor. Like, I was shocked when I saw those plot twists. Like, holy hell, holy cow! How did they manage to pull off these insane plot twists using these multiverses? And I gotta say right now, the plot twist in this movie might be the greatest plot twist in movie history. It makes, like, I won't say what the plot twist is. I will say it in the spoilery part at the end of the review. But the plot twist in this movie is probably the greatest plot twist in movie history. Like, wow! Like, how can a plot twist be so unpredictable? And yes, it's better than the twist of Darth Vader being Luke's father in Empire Strikes Back. And by the way, you've heard so many comparisons of this movie being the Empire Strikes Back of Spider-Man, of Spider-Verse. Well, I'm here to tell you guys right now, it is, but better, because this movie is better than the Empire Strikes Back. It makes Empire Strikes Back look like a joke in comparison. That's how good this one is. And what else can I say? This is pretty much the definition of how to do a great sequel. And by the way, speaking of sequels, I actually might do a video on my defense to sequels, because trust me, guys, there is a lot to say about sequels, and I know people are getting sequel fatigue. Like, they'll say, "Oh, stop! Why can't Hollywood stop making sequels to this movie?" Like, I think personally sequels are necessary, and movies do deserve as sequels when it's the right time. And to me, personally, Spider-Verse was the right time to Spider-Verse was the right time to make sequels, because Spider-Verse is the right movie to make a sequel out of, because and I know there's some people saying that it won't live up to the first film, but here's the thing: Into the Spider-Verse was just a setup for more possibilities to come, more endless possibilities of this universe to come. And this movie does not back down on it. I mean, it created so many different ideas, so many different possibilities, endless possibilities, that it feels more madness than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was. And yeah, there is just so much to offer, so much mind blowing things about this movie. There's just so much that anyone could ever dream of, like so much. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say, everything I have to praise about the writing. It is just pure brilliance. Oh yeah, and by the way, going back to the plot twist. Now you know my favorite plot twist in a movie is the Frozen 2 plot twist where Elsa's the fifth spirit. I have to think about that one. Which is the best plot twist? That or the Across the Spider-Verse plot twist? And I might actually do a top five best movie plot twist in like best movie plot twist, and the plot twist in the third act will certainly be on that list for sure. There is no way it won't be. Trust me on that one. And yeah, so the plot is just brilliant, of course. But so yeah. Now I've only talked about a few things, but for sure there is a lot more to say about this movie. There is the plot twist in there. There is you got the brilliant plot that is a meta commentary on the Spider-Man lore there, with and you said the brilliant plot twist and a revolution in the animation, and the fact that it feels like an adult anime movie, which is something. And by the way, we need more anime movies like this, and I haven't even talked about the best parts yet. So yeah, what else can I say? Okay, now time for me to talk about the characters in this movie. Like, there is so much to say, and I was gonna talk about Gwen Stacy for last, but screw it. Let's talk about Gwen Stacy now. This movie is still a mouse movie, and there are lots of cameos. And by the way, the cameos in this movie were well used. I mean, people were one of the reasons that people were hyped for this movie is because of the cameos. But trust me when I say there are more than just cameos, because the cameos only happen for like 10 minutes in the movie. So if you're worried that this movie was gonna rely too much on fan service to just shove nostalgia like down your throats, well, that part only happens with the Spider Society. Only happens for 10 minutes in the movie. It focuses on its main characters. It doesn't go too far with the fan service. Those nostalgic moments only happen for 10 minutes, so don't worry about it. And yes, this is a mouse movie, a character study of mouse. But as much as no wait, as much as this is a mouse movie, it is also a Gwen Stacy movie. Yep, Gwen Stacy is like, sorry. As much as this is a mouse movie, okay, all right though. Where was I? As much as this is a mouse movie, it is also a Gwen Stacy movie. Gwen Stacy is, well, Gwen and Mouse are equally the main characters. Some can even argue that Gwen Stacy is the main character. In fact, that Gwen Stacy is the main character. Let's talk about the first 20 minutes of the movie. Remember when I said in one of the things I said in my vlog, my out of theater, or no, my out of theater reaction for it, is that the first 20 minutes is the best opening scene to ever put a film. It is true, and I still think that I still stand by saying that this movie has the best opening scene to a movie I have ever seen. So yeah, I think revealing the first 20 minutes is okay. It's not really like a major spoiler, like the biggest spoiler. Not as big as some of the other spoilers that I'm gonna possibly try to avoid in this review. But I'll just say that now. I'll just say this: the first 20 minutes, you're already in love with the movie. You already know that this movie is going to be a masterpiece, and like the first with the first 20 minutes of the movie, just the prologue alone, I already knew what my opinion on this movie was. I knew that this was my favorite comic movie. This is my favorite movie of the year. My favorite Spider-Man movie. My second favorite movie of all time. Just those first 20 movies, the first 20 minutes alone, you know what this movie is gonna be. So basically, the first 20 minutes is a character study for Gwen Stacy. The first 20 minutes of the movie instantly is Gwen Stacy. It feels like a mini movie, a separate mini movie for Gwen Stacy. Like you could literally make a Gwen Stacy movie and just cut out the rest of the movie and just show the first 20 minutes. Like it is that good of a movie. So basically, the first 20 minutes of the movie, so right after the opening logo, which by the way, it actually starts off with it actually the logo of this movie, the way that they show the opening logo, it's the exact same thing as the first film, the exact same. And then we see, and then of course, well, as expected, there will be like an narration like, oh, let's do this. My name is Spider Man, and I'm like this, and I'm like that. You know those things. Guess who narrated that? Guess who made the opening narration? Gwen Stacy. I was really happy. Like I was smiling when I heard that Gwen Stacy was doing the opening narration, and I knew I was like, okay, this is already the best. Like I mean, um, well, whatever. But okay, well, I 10% take that back by 10%. But yeah, Gwen Stacy was narrating pretty much. She was narrating for Miles, and he was like, his name is Miles Morales. He's Spider-Man. He has a origin story, and narrates Miles's origin story. And so you may think that this movie could start with Miles, Miles, goofing around with the spot and stuff, but no. Instead, the first 20 minutes of the movie entirely focuses on Gwen Stacy and Gwen Stacy's world. I mean, remember the scene in the Spider-Verse where Gwen Stacy explains her story, her backstory and stuff. Well, it's expanded here into the Spider-Verse. No, I mean across the Spider-Verse, Gwen's storyline was expanded. Like we see, just Gwen Stacy being a drummer, but Gwen Stacy's talent is drumming. But and to me personally, my favorite instrument is drum. Well, technically, when it comes to listening to music, my favorite instrument is piano. But I am a drummer like Gwen. But then suddenly Gwen's band hates him. We learned that Gwen Stacy's band hates her, and we learned that Gwen Stacy is an outcast, becomes an outcast, and I relate to Gwen a lot, like even more than Miles. I relate to Gwen because I'm someone who how do I say this? I'm someone who has a hard time making friends in real life. I feel like an outcast sometimes, and people are telling me, "Oh, you need to make friends," but suddenly I kind of fail to make friends, and it does take me a while to make friends. But but I see myself in Gwen when it comes to being an outcast, and one of the only friends that Gwen Stacy ever had was Peter Parker, and yeah, this movie, and so whenever someone bullies Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy would protect him, and I really like that. Like, I believe that guy bullying Peter was Flash Thompson, and then we see Peter like Gwen Stacy pushing Flash away, and be like, "Hey, stop it! Get away from Peter Parker." And yeah, we see her protecting Peter Parker, and then we also see how Peter Parker dies, and we see how Peter Parker dies, and Gwen Stacy mourning for her, and we see remember the part in Into the Spider-Verse where Captain Stacy you know, would think when Captain Stacy when no wait, remember the part in Into the Spider-Verse where, well, Miles' father would see like a Spider-Man in front of Aaron Davis, a dead Aaron Davis, and he accused Spider-Man murdering uh of murdering Aaron Davis. Well, in this one, it's the same thing. Captain Stacy literally thinks that Spider Gwen killed Peter Parker, so he's on a manhunt, and Gwen Stacy tries to protect Spider Gwen, tries to protect Spider Gwen, and protect Spider Gwen, yeah, and also and yes, we see and then that's when we see a bunch of villains from different universe coming to Gwen's world, and Miguel and Jessica saving her, and we learn in that scene that um in that scene that, oh well, that Gwen had to go on this mission. Well, and guess what, guys? She actually revealed her true identity to Captain Stacy, and Captain Stacy pretty much hated her for it, and she think that Gwen Stacy's the murderer, and literally tried to arrest his own daughter. So yeah, this movie pretty much plays on the Spider-Man does refusing to reveal his identity trope by um and not only that, but it actually explains why how do I say it explains why this Peter Parker no doesn't want to, or Spider-Man does not want to reveal his identity, whoever this Spider-Man is, whichever variant. It's because the people close to whoever the Spider-Man can hate her for it, can get mad because and might think that no, this person might have done something wrong, and so yeah, that's why Gwen told Miles never reveal your true identity. That totally makes sense as to why no Spider-Man would ever want to reveal his or her identity. That is just smart writing, and this movie screams brilliant all around. And yeah, the first 20 minutes I was like thinking, okay, yeah, this is already my favorite scene in the film. Well, how can I thought that the first 20 minutes was gonna be the best scene in the entire film. I was like thinking, what other scenes can top it? And thinking about it, actually, it's actually my second favorite scene in the film. My number one scene in the movie still does involve Gwen Stacy in it. Like it is a Gwen Stacy centered scene. Basically, there's a scene like towards the third act where Gwen Stacy comes back to her own world, to her own universe, and then she comes back to her own house to quote unquote reunite with her father. Well, technically not quote unquote. I take that back. And she's still upset about Captain Stacy for what he did to Gwen in the first 20 minutes of the movie, and I'm sure you know what happened when he framed Gwen Stacy for murdering Peter Parker, and Gwen Stacy really gives us emotional motivation, like she pretty much tries to explain her motivation to her dad that that she really wants to be Spider when and she really enjoys the job and her dad just must accept it. And Gwen's acting in that scene, Haley Steinfeld's voice acting in this scene. And by the way, this movie has some masterful voice acting, but Haley Steinfeld is the best of them all. Gwen Stacy explaining to her dad that she's Spider-Man with that she's Spider Woman and she can be whatever she want, and trying to like give all these explanation, these emotions, these stuff about her, and then we learned that Captain Stacy actually retired to take care of Gwen, to care for Gwen, and yeah, that scene right there, I mean, that scene is super emotional. I mean, if you think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is emotional, that emotional scene with Gwen Stacy and her dad, like in the third act, is far more emotional than any scene in Guardians 3. It makes those emotional scenes in Guardians 3 look emotionless in comparison. Although, right, guys, I still think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is emotional, but just the scene with Gwen Stacy and Captain Stacy alone in the third act, just that emotional scene, it is just beautiful. It's just so heart wrenching. It's just so good, and I literally sobbed. The two times I watched this movie, I was sobbing at that scene. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the best scene in the film. And then there's also the cliffhanger ending. Yes, I mean the all the twists actually came right after that emotional scene, and also pretty much he also Captain Stacy also got to help Gwen go into the multiverse by by providing her with a portal. Like I like that. I won't really say what the twists are. You'll have to see for yourself. And by the way, remember early in the review I said I was gonna do a spoiler part. Well, screw that. Well, I wouldn't say it's a non-spoiler review, but I mean I already said enough things I need to say. So I'm. I mean, this video will end soon. There's like just a few characters I still need to talk about. Maybe like 5 to 10 more minutes of it, but we'll see. Whatever. But okay, well, let's talk about that cliffhanger ending. Now I know the ending has divided people. There were people who weren't a fan of the ending, but there were some people who thought the ending was perfect, a perfect way to build up to Across the Spider-Verse, like me. No, I mean Beyond the Spider-Verse, like me. I think it is such a perfect way to build up to Across the Spider-Verse. We see all these twists, all these tangled up storylines, but literally the real ending of this movie is epic. I will say, now, I won't give much detail about this, but I will give a brief detail on what happens in the end without giving away like the big spoiler reveals. So yeah, in the end, Gwen Stacy pretty much forms a team of Spider people. Like she, like half of the Spider Society she recruits Peter B. Parker and half of the Spider Society members to I won't say okay, well, I won't say how, but I will say Gwen Stacy forms her own team of Spider people for Beyond the Spider Verse, and my God! And after seeing that scene for myself, and that's pretty much the ending. That's all I'll say. I won't spoil anything else about it, but just that scene alone, like it gets me pumped for Beyond the Spider Verse. And remembering my I'm sure you remember my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024 community post where I put Beyond the where I put Avatar 3 as my most anticipated movie of the year of that year, and Beyond the Spider-Verse as a close second. Well, I take that back. Beyond the Spider-Verse is my most anticipated movie of 2023. Of 2024, next year. Like, truly. Like, I cannot wait to see Gwen Stacy and her Spider team. Like, like Gwen Stacy's team. Like, Team Gwen Stacy, yeah, already the best superhero team I've ever seen. Gwen Stacy leading her own team. That is the best superhero team, bar none. That epic is just such an epic conclusion. Like, I do not understand how people would dislike that ending of just that epic moment of Gwen Stacy. It started with Gwen Stacy and it ended with Gwen Stacy. That's how much Gwen Stacy there was, and so much Gwen Stacy. I love it, and yeah. But of course, well, I'm already like 45 minutes in the review, and I still haven't really talked about Miles Morales himself yet, the man himself. So yeah, Miles Morales. He is just as good, if not better, than he was in the first film. Now that he's grown taller, he's become a lot more mature in a good and bad way. Now that he's grown apart, he pretty much has this big troubled relationship with his parents. I said I mentioned twice in this review. He has this troubled relationship with his parents, where like he'd argue and fight back with his parents. Like it all started with school, where he flunked Spanish, and then he was late to Captain Jefferson Davis's promotional party, and with a cake, and then Miles like pretty much answering back his parents, like answering back his parents and getting grounded for a month, or like and then more additional months as Miles gets angrier, and yeah, but of course they're just angry, they're just upset. So eventually they have thought on wanting to talk to Miles, like wanting to understand Miles and how he feels, and why he's trying to grow apart from them, and yeah, and I'm at the period of time where I have trouble relationships with my parents. I mean, we all go through troubling relationships, and I also feel that way. I have troubles with my parents. This is pretty much the perfect time right now. This is I mean, I definitely need this movie for me to relate to it. This is probably the most relatable for a movie I've seen. Not just Miles, but Gwen as well. Like, but man, Miles' character arc is really good. Although, if I were to nitpick something, Miles said he's 15 years old. I don't believe that. I don't believe Miles is 15 years old. There's no way. Maybe it's like I can't really imagine a 15-year-old already like graduating high school and going to college. I mean, some students are like that. Maybe if they skip class because they're too smart. Um, like how Hero, like Big Hero 6, where Hero Hamada, Hero graduated high school 13. I mean, maybe Mouse is just too smart, but he keeps flunking out of school and failing. So there is no way. It feels a little unrealistic for Mouse um to already be in 12th grade, like, and about to head to college in grade in like in the age of 15. I think he looks more like 17 years old. But that's probably my one nitpick with the movie. But other than that, yeah, but I think this movie is perfect. Like, I would not change a single thing about it. But anyway, yeah. I love Mouse's growth, and yeah. And the new characters are really good too. Like Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man 2099 is great. Like, he's kind of like an anti-hero in this one. He's not really a villain. Like, I had to like really, I honestly had to like do some research, like Google up, is Spider-Man 2099 a villain? It said, according to research, it said no, Spider-Man is not really a villain. I think he's more of an anti-hero, because he pretty much wants to get rid of Miles for messing up the multiverse, which makes sense. Like, in a way, Miles Morales kind of feels like a villain, and and Spider-Man 2099 is just angry. But the Spot is truly the best villain. And speaking of the Spot, oh my goodness, he has just dethroned Mysterio as my favorite Spider-Man villain area. Yeah, Spot is my favorite Spider-Man villain now. I mean, yeah, sure, he's not in it that much. I mean, and when he first starts off, like introducing like in the first 20 minutes in the movie, in the 20 minute mark, like when we see him for the first time, he does look like more of a generic villain. Like, he did look more like a generic, like goofy villain like that, like boring villain where he just have no motivation. But he actually has motivation, and his motivations make sense, and it kind of like connects to the first one, which is why I compared him to Dante from Fast X. Like, he was like, pretty much behind everything this whole time. I want to explain his motivation. I don't want to talk going too much about, like, I think I'm already saying almost enough about it. But I want to say, Miles' actions, like pretty much Miles' actions that brings him into the multiverse is like he was there in the background, like he was always there in the background, and the collider turned him into, well, into a human being, which I forgot what his real name was, or did they even mention it, or is he no, or no, wait, no, and then they turned him into the Spot, yeah, without like a face, just the Spot. Yeah, like, you may be wondering, what can they do with this villain? Oh my goodness, he is a real threat. Like, he pretty much, like he uses like, he enters the multiverses where he can literally cross the multiverses, and each time he goes into the multiverse, he, goes into the multiverse, he literally causes destruction, and he causes a destruction, and all those things. Like, he causes so much, damage, so much, destruction, and he becomes more powerful as he enters more multiverses, and he becomes a Thanos, or should I say Kang level threat. Like, he's basically the Kang of the multiverse, and I will say, like, he's actually better than Kang. Like, when it comes to, villain with multiversal travels, I'm not sure why I would rank him at my favorite villains 2023 list. Well, I'm not sure if he'll be the best villain of the year. There will still be better villains. Right now, my favorite villain of the year thus far is Quinn Bailey from Scream 6. And then there's still, like, two other villains that could become among my favorite villains of the year. Chelsea from Ruby Gillman and Teenage Kraken, and King Magnifico from Wish. Yeah, those two, like Quinn Bailey, Chelsea, and King Magnifico will be the three best villains of the year. But the Spot could be like, the Spot could be my top five favorite villains, or maybe top 10. I don't know how he compares to Kang, Bowser, the High Evolutionary. You know what? Actually, not. I prefer High Evolutionary over the Spot. I don't know where I'd rank the Spot yet. Now, Bowser. It's either him, Bowser, or Bowser, or Kang. I'm not sure who I prefer. I'll have to like think about that. But Quinn and High Evolutionary are still the best. And like what I said, there's still Chelsea and King Magnifico coming. So yeah, we'll see about that. But for sure, he is my favorite Spider-Man villain, like what I said. And then there's also some great characters as well. Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman. There is what's that? Oh yeah, Spider-Punk, who is voiced wonderfully by Daniel Kaluuya, like awesome, and Spider-Man India, voiced by Dopinder from Deadpool. Like, Deadpool 3 is gonna. I hope Deadpool 3 makes some includes some across the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse jokes. And yes, and of course, I can talk about Miles Morales' parents. Like, they both have some great motivation as well. There was actually an emotional scene with Spider-Man and Jefferson Davis talking, where Spider-Man asks him, like, what about his son, and he pretty much like gives an emotional talk about him being troubles of parenting, and I kind of teared up in that scene. And then of course we got Rio Morales giving Miles Morales an inspirational speech. Like you saw this from a teaser trailer, like where she said, you know, you'll go out like it's just hard to see my little boy be my little man at a time. But I worry about most is that he is lost, and you can do great things like that. That stuff from the trailer, yeah, it is just that was just as emotional as it was in the trailer, and yeah. However, I feel like downgrade from the one downgrade this movie had from Into the Spider Verse is Peter B. Parker. I love Peter B. Parker in the first film. He's just such a great mentor to such a great mentor to a great mentor to Spider Man. The great Spider-Man. But this one, he's not in it as much, so he definitely has stepped down. I still like him, like trying to him and Gwen like trying to protect Spider-Man, and he has some great stuff as well. But I prefer him. I just prefer him in the first film. And also he's pretty much the comedic guy in this one. I will say, he's the comedic guy. He has all the jokes in this movie come from him. Also Spider-Man India also has some great jokes as well. Like chai tea. Chai means tea. Like great jokes as well. Although I prefer, although this is more of a serious movie. Let's let you know this is more of a serious movie, and then also yeah oh yeah, I almost forgot to talk about the action scenes. This movie almost has non-stop action. I mean, we got so many action anime movies before, but never has anime movie have more action scenes than this. Like this has more action scenes than a lot of the MCU. So much action in this one. Like the third act is just the second and third act is just bursting with adrenaline. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I suck. Like so much rush, so much like getting pumped up and getting on the edge of your seat. So much action, so much tension. In this one, it has probably the most action, the most number of action scenes in an anime film. Almost non-stop action. I'm gonna say that. And then, oh yeah, let's talk about the cameos before I end this one. I'm gonna mention a bit of the cameos. Well, yes, there are. I mean, I mentioned the Spider Society people in there. The Spider Society people. Like there's a super long chase scene with all the Spider Society chasing Miles. That was by far the best action scene, and in my top 5 favorite scenes of the entire movie. But yeah, that entire scene with all the spider people chasing Miles like that, like wow. And also the cameos are really good. Like I won't say like a lot about the cameos. There's some really weird like stuff, like Spider Horse. There's a Spider T-Rex. There's a Spider T-Rex, which is so cool. Like it's weird, but it's cool weird. I like that. I will say one person who was in this movie. Now it's not that big of a spoiler anyway. I mean, don't leave this one. I'm almost done. Don't worry. But yeah, there was one appearance in this movie that was shocking to me, and that was Penny Parker. Yeah, Penny Parker is the most underrated Spider-Verse. Penny Parker is by far the most underrated Spider-Verse character. And yeah, I was so happy when I saw Penny Parker in this one. I was so happy to see my most underrated Spider-Verse character coming back. I was so overjoyed. Not only that, but she's bare design. It looks even more adorable, and she even has a more badass looking robot than the first one. And I love that. So yeah, overall, so like I guess that's it, guys. Overall, yeah, this is the longest review I've ever seen, possibly the longest video I've ever done, and I'm so proud to be talking a lot about Spider-Verse. There is a lot to say about this one. It really is a great time to be a Spider-Verse fan, to be a Spider-Man fan, and maybe even an animation fan. But with some of the more recent animated films like this and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and surprise his Puss in Boots' Last Wish, it feels like a great time to be an animation fan again. Like animation just finally improving, finally stepping up, and this year could be the best year for animation. Although we're gonna be getting what could possibly be my new worst movie of all time, Trolls Band Together. Ugh. But yes, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is such an accomplishment for animation. It is my second favorite movie of all time behind Frozen 2, and it gets all the credits it deserves. Yeah, like it is getting praise right now, and I'm so glad people are agreeing with me that this is one of the best movies of all time. It's the best Spider-Man movie and the best comic book movie. So yeah, I have to hurry up this outro because I'm in a hurry. I have other things to do and I'm like nearly an hour. Like I'm almost an hour in. Like I didn't think I would ever do an hour review of a movie before, but until now. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna give Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse not a 10 out of 10, but an infinity out of 10. Yeah, this is the first time I've given a movie that I think, but yeah. Yeah, wow, I never thought I would spend almost an hour reviewing a movie. Hopefully my redo Frozen 2 review, which by the way, I'm gonna be doing a doing a review of all this year revival age movies leading up to Wish. Hopefully nothing will get in the way of that, but yeah. And I will certainly do a reading review of Frozen 2 this November. Hopefully this can also be a 1 hour movie review like this one. So yeah. So yeah, what is your opinion on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? Who agrees with me that this is the best Spider-Man movie and the best Spider-Man movie and the best comic book movie and one of the best movies of all time? Or do you think that this is the best? Or do you think that this movie is not as good as Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse? So yeah, this is truly the best movie 2023 for sure. Will this movie get topped? I will say there is a 30% chance of Wish topping this. Wish is right now my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year after this movie. So yeah. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of all Spider-Man movies, my review for the TV show American Born Chinese, and my biggest rant on my channel, the Trolls World for Tour 2001 rant videos. So yeah, bye guys.